What's up guys, my name is Blake Moore, welcome to More Finance, and today what I'm doing in my video is I'm going to be going over my weekly income breakdown that I'm going to start doing every single week. I did one for you guys last week and I think it went pretty well, to be honest. I got a lot of positive feedback. There were some people saying that the 30 hours that I worked wasn't actually part-time, but I can assure you in this video, I'm going to be showing you how much I make as a part-time delivery driver. I know I've said in the past that I'm full-time, but it just kind of gets all mixed together with everything that I do. So I do consider myself a full-time delivery driver, but really I'm only working part-time hours, if that makes any sense. So for those new viewers out there, this is something that I'm doing every single week where I break down my income and the expenses for the previous week and try and explain some things to you guys on how to break down the money you're making as a delivery driver. So with that said, if you guys wouldn't mind just hitting that like button for me and also hit that subscribe button if you want to be entered into the giveaway that I'm doing for my subscribers for the month of July. And also, if you want to help me donate 10 cents per subscriber to the National Alliance on Mental Illness, I'm doing that as well for the month of July. So if you want to be a part of either one of those, make sure you subscribe. Let's get right into these finances. So all these numbers are going to be from last week. And last week I made $258 exactly from Doordash, $231.56 from Uber Eats, and $73.23 from Grubhub. So that brings our total for the week to $562.79, and I only worked 18 hours. So not bad income for a part-time job in my opinion whatsoever. That's actually incredible. If you can make that much in 18 hours, it was a really good week for me. And so that means we made $31.27 per hour, but that's gross income. That's not our net profit that we're getting to keep at the end of the week. So the way you figure out your net income is going to be by following these certain expenses that you have to take out before you find out your profit. And the first one, you have to figure out how many miles you drove. The mileage app that I use to track my miles, and it also gives me deductions on what tax deduction I get, that would be the app GRIDWISE. I have a link for you down in the description. You can use if you haven't gotten that app already. So it's a great app, tracks your mileage, and also gives you the tax deduction you can use when it comes time for taxes. So that's also really nice. But because I drove 408 miles, that means I was averaging $1.38 per mile. Not bad at all in my opinion. I say anything above $1 is acceptable. Anything above $1.50 is exceptional. We are almost at that $1.50 mark. Yeah, I'd want it to be a little bit higher, but not too bad. And then that means because we drove the 408 miles, we get a $228.48 deduction. The way you get that number is you get a 56-cent tax deduction for every mile you drive as a self-employed worker. And because we're all self-employed workers, independent contractors, we get that tax deduction. So any miles you're driving for business is the actual term, and because our entire business is driving around, you can deduct all those miles. So $228.48 tax deduction. That means the total amount of money we have to pay towards taxes is $334.31. That's the income the IRS is seeing that you actually made. That's essentially what a tax deduction is money you don't have to pay taxes on and that the IRS doesn't recognize as income. Because if you're using these tax deductions as well, banks aren't going to recognize that you're making $562 for the week. They're going to be recognizing you make $334 a week. If you're using this to get a loan or anything like that, that's recognized by the government. If you do choose to use those tax deductions, then you also have to consider that as well. So if you want to look like you're making more money than you are to get a more sizable loan, then you wouldn't want to use these tax deductions. So I just wanted to explain that a little further. I know I've been using this breakdown model for a while now, and if there's any confusion out there, I just wanted to clear up some things because I know it's a little bit confusing, and because I used to do real estate, I do know more when it comes to loans and just taxable income and all that sort of things. So I wanted to give you guys a little more clarification on what's actually going into your tax deductions and what's actually counted as taxable income. So you have your tax deduction, you're subtracting your tax deduction from your total gross revenue that you made, which is that $562 number that I made. And that's the number you're going to actually have to pay taxes on. I know that was a little drawn out, but I just want to make it clear for you guys. So I like to save 30% of the number that I get after the tax deduction. So my taxable income I have, and then I take 30% of that and save it away. And the reason that I do 30% is because there's a 15.3% self-employment tax that we as independent contractors have to pay. And then also there's your state income tax, which for Utah is really low, actually. I think it's only 4.9%, so pretty low on there. And then the federal income tax, which just depends on how much money you make as an individual, or if you're married, how much money you make as a couple. And so I believe I fall in the 12% bracket. It might be different this year because I'm probably gonna end up making more money than I ever have. So I might be in a higher tax bracket. And so I probably should right now actually find the definite number that I need to be saving. 30% has always worked for me, but as I and you guys start to make more and more money, you're gonna have to figure that out on your own or consult with a tax professional. So guys, I'm filming this as I'm editing my video because I did just look up my tax bracket that I'm gonna be falling into. And because I'm married and we're filing a joint return, I am going to be in the 22% tax bracket, which takes me from only paying about 31% in taxes to about 42%. So I am going to start putting away 42% of my taxes, and this whole thing was based off of the 30% that I thought I fell into because that's what I've always fallen into. But because me and my wife are going to be making more than that tax bracket, we go up to the 22% tax bracket. So it does get a little more confusing in my next weekly income breakdown. I'll break it down for you guys even further when it comes to that portion. And I'm sorry if this audio quality is terrible, but it's on my phone and my phone has terrible speakers. But just thought I would let you guys know that I am actually going to start saving more than that 30% because it's probably going to end up being more than that. So just thought I'd let you guys know. But 30%, pretty good rule of thumb. Especially with gig work, it's hard to make over like $50,000 or $60,000 in a year. And in a future video that I'm going to be uploading in a couple of days here, I will actually show you how I'm making $100,000 a year as a delivery driver. So stay tuned for that, a little promo for myself. Make sure you stay tuned for that. So 30% is what I take out. 30% of that $334 is $100.29. And so my total after I pay that 30% in taxes is $462.50. Then you have to factor in your gas expense and your car savings and repairs. So gas expense, you figure out how many miles your car can drive on a full tank of gas. You have to know how much money it costs you to fill up a full tank of gas. For me, my car can drive 500 miles on a full tank of gas, and I pay $65 to fill it up. So by knowing those two numbers, then you take the miles you drove, 408. You have to figure out what percentage that is of the total amount of miles you can drive. So I take the 408 miles, I divide it by 500 to get that percent, and I get 82%. I don't know if you guys can see that well, but it's 81.6%, but I just round up 82%. So then you have to take that percent that you get and multiply the amount of money you're spending on a full tank of gas by this percent number. So $65 on a full tank of gas times that 0.82, I get the $53.30 right there. That's how you get the gas expense number, is $53.30. That's not a number you're going to be taking out of your paycheck every week. That's not how it works. That's just the money you spent on gas throughout the week on delivery driving. So that's an expense that you have to figure out, that when you see that, oh, $562, really, that's not the total you made because you were spending money on gas throughout the week, if that makes sense. You might have to go back and rewatch that part a little bit and write down the numbers that I'm saying, because it is a little confusing, especially if math's not your strong point, then it does get very confusing. So just watch that little 2 minutes of me breaking that down a couple times and you should be able to get it. And you can also email me if you have any questions. My email's down in the description as well. Then the next expense we have is car savings and car repairs. As a delivery driver, you're going to be putting wear and tear on your car. And so what I like to do is save 5% of my income after taxes. So it's going to be 5% of that $462.50 number, and I get $23.13. So that 5%, what it's going to is tire changes, oil changes, if something goes out on your car, if you need to replace something, if you have to replace your brake pads, just anything that happens as you're driving around, putting wear and tear on your car, this $23.13, the 5% that I put away, goes towards that. So you're not going to need that every single week or even really every single month, except for the oil changes. But if you're taking this out every single week, then you're going to build up a nice large sum so that when something does go out, you can pay for it. And also I use that fund to save for a new car. So whatever money I'm not using on repairs and things that come up with car maintenance, that money's going towards a new car savings. Because you're putting so much wear and tear on your car's probably only going to last about 3 to 6 years at the most. That's a pretty good range of where you're going to be needing to get a new car. So taking this amount out every single week is also putting money towards either a new car, a used car, or a down payment on a car, anything like that. That's just new car savings. And so 5% of your income after taxes. That's what I do. So then you subtract the gas expense, the 5% for wear and tear on your car, and the total profit that I made after those expenses is $386.07. And so our hourly profit that we were making for the 18 hours we worked was $21.45, which is still really good income, especially for a part-time job and especially for the lack of work that delivery driving actually takes. And to close this video out, I just wanted to go over something that I see a lot in my comment section, is that they don't like when us gig workers, us gig tubers, whatever you want to call us, when we break down our expenses and say we actually only made this amount of money, because they're like, oh, well, in normal jobs, they don't factor that in. I've said that recently as well, and I do agree with that normal jobs, you don't say, oh, I make $60,000 a year, when really you're making $100,000 a year, but 40% of that is going to taxes. So normal people don't say that. But you do kind of have to say that when it comes to delivery driving, because it's your own business. It's your delivery business. And so you have to treat it as a business. A business doesn't get to say they make $1 million a year if they're not even profitable, if that makes any sense to you. So you have to think of it in a business sense. And unfortunately, we do have more expenses because we are running our own business. And you have to factor those things in when you're actually coming up with the amount of money you're pocketing every single week. So just wanted to close out with that. You can do what you want with it, but hopefully this video was able to bring you guys some great information. I'm going to continue to do this every week. You can see how much I'm working, see how much money I'm making, how I'm breaking down my finances, so that hopefully you can get some information and incorporate this into your own dashing or Uber Eats, Grubhub, whatever you're doing. You can incorporate this into your day-to-day delivery driving. And if you did get any information, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want to be entered into that giveaway that I'm doing, or help me with my donation to the National Alliance on Mental Illness. You'll be helping me with that as well. So if you want to be a part of either one of those, make sure you subscribe. As you guys know, you're the best subscribers in the entire world, and I'll see you guys next time.